in the squadron. They called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Ooh, that was... All right, we're back. All right, how's everybody holding up with this partial shutdown, TSA, and all that stuff? Anybody see any ICE agents at the airport? Poor guys are getting hassled. People are getting in their face, trying to go viral, picking on these guys. And now we can see their faces, right? No protection. So people go home and they Google them, or they Google them right on the spot, and they're picketing them and harming them, and, you know, just terrible. You know, how can you? These guys are there so there isn't going to be that much of a delay at the airport. I think that's pretty damn good. We want those guys there. I had some friends at the airport. It wasn't the nightmare scenario that we've been told. They were there for about 2 hours. From the time they arrived to the time they actually took off was 2 hours. And that didn't sound so bad to me. Quite frankly, that sounds like Wednesday, right? That sounds like any freaking day. I just wasn't that put off by it. Look, easy for me. I'm not going anywhere, and I don't want to go anywhere. I know somebody who was on the plane the other night. A personal friend of mine from work. Yeah, Jackie. She was on the flight. She's fine. Actually, she took a day off yesterday. Did she deserve a day off? She wasn't injured. I guess you could say it's mentally traumatizing. I guess you could say that. No, it might have been 2 guys dead in the front. That would be. All right, take the time. Take the rest of the week. Take the rest of the week. Now, I told you, one of the factors here is it's late at night at LaGuardia. And yeah, it looks to me like they downgrade the staff. I mean, they remove some staff members because it's the midnight shift. It's late, so there's less traffic. Yeah, but there's more traffic at LaGuardia at night than there is, say, at St. Louis in the middle of the day. Nah, maybe not St. Louis. Maybe Milwaukee, right? There's more traffic at LaGuardia at night than peak hours for Milwaukee. So it all gets underway when a United Airlines plane, there's always, something weird is always happening. And by the way, I'm watching all this stuff 45 minutes before the plane lands, the plane that crashes. And they have all kinds of goofy stuff happening. A plane is told to turn right on taxiway Alpha. Where does he turn? He turns left. People make mistakes all the time. So here's how it starts, okay? Cut 2, if you don't mind. Cut 2. This has nothing to do with the fire truck. Well, it does have to do with the fire truck, because the fire truck is ultimately going to show up with the plane, with the stinky cabin. Cut 2.
Hey, LaGuardia Grand United 2384. We have an odor on the plane as well here at this time. We are going to be going back to the gate request fire as well.
Okay, do you know what gate it is? What lane are you going to?
Negative. We'll call though.
If that's a sewer smell, Brickyard 5795, we smelled that too going around the terminal there right before you get to Echo.
Everybody sounded really cool there. Everybody really cool. Really cool. And that's actually the hallmark of a professional aviator. Sounded really cool. But it's not that cool sometimes if you just get there and you don't know how to talk on the radio. And you're going to hear that in a moment. A beginner, if you will, who doesn't know how to talk on the radio. It's one thing if you're talking on, the radio station. Some people know how to talk. Some people don't. Some people are popular. Some people are not. But when you're experimenting with the radio at an airport in an emergency situation, that can be bad. And it will be. First, let's try cut 3, please.
Brickyard 795, cross right Fort Echo and turn right on Double Charlie.
All right, crossing 4 on Echo and then right Double Charlie, Brickyard 5795.
5795, turning left on Charlie, roger. Very cool. Knows exactly what's going down. And, you notice what happens. They give you an instruction and you repeat. That's what he's doing. He's repeating the complex instructions back. It's not just sounding cool on the radio. He's got something to say. Cut 2, please. No. Make the cut 3, if you don't mind. Cut 3.
Brickyard 795, cross right Fort Echo and turn right on Double Charlie.
All right, crossing 4 on Echo and then right Double Charlie, Brickyard 5795.
Wow. It sounds kind of complicated, but it's not. Cross the runway at Echo and make a right on Charlie. Is that what I heard? See, the runways have numbers and the taxiways have letters. Now, things get to be a little bit more intense, okay? Just a little bit. That onboard odor has not dissipated. Cut 4.
Ground Unit 2384 is declaring an emergency. The flight attendants in the back are feeling ill because of the odor. We will need to go into any available gate at this time.
Okay, roger that. Hey, this is Ed again. Do you guys have any gate for United? Because now they're declaring an emergency. They want to get out. Yeah.
Let me ask them. I'll call you right back.
Let me call you right back. Yeah, they're making things happen. It's not some algorithm that's going to do the work. They got to do the work. They look out. Okay, a plane has got a stinky cabin. What are we going to do? How do we fix it? It has no place to park. We got to call the airline. Do they have a place for these guys to park? And it goes on like this. So you're about to hear, let's see, 2, 3, 4. Let's try cut 5. And then this fire truck that's responding to the stinky odor. That's what this is all about. That's why the fire truck is out on the runway in the first place. Cut 5.
Was the vehicle needed to cross the runway? Emergency vehicles calling on ground, or are you calling on tower?
Truck 1 and Company, LaGuardia Tower.
Truck 1 and Company.
Truck 1 and Company, LaGuardia Tower, requesting to cross 4 at Delta.
Truck 1 and Company, cross 4 at Delta.
Truck 1 and Company, crossing 4 at Delta.
Truck 1 and Company, cross 4 at Delta. Now, he was assessing, in my opinion, whether or not that Air Canada flight was too close or not close enough or whatever. If the Air Canada flight, which was on final, was within a mile, maybe they couldn't let him pass, or a half a mile. I would say customarily, when you're crossing a runway, you do so with great alacrity. You don't dawdle when you're crossing a runway. You got to make it happen fast. There are indications that it did not happen all that fast. Okay? And one more time, I know I've been harping on this, but you heard how long it took this guy to respond. And you heard the other guys, yeah, right on deck, go Charlie, and we'll be right back with you. All right. We'll just chill out here and waiting for the guest, over and out. He sounds a little bit higher, nervous, right? And he hits the microphone button and doesn't say anything. One more time on this, because I think it's interesting, and I think it's worthwhile pointing out. All right. Go with cut 5 again.
Was the vehicle needed to cross the runway? Emergency vehicles calling on ground, or are you calling on tower?
It's got to hunt the guy down.
Truck 1 and Company, LaGuardia Tower.
Truck 1 and Company.
Truck 1 and Company, LaGuardia Tower, requesting to cross 4 at Delta.
Truck 1 and Company, cross 4 at Delta.
Truck 1 and Company, crossing 4 at Delta.
All right, that company tells me he was actually evaluating the situation, and I don't believe he misevaluated. Maybe he did. Okay, let's see here. What happens next? Cut 7, please.
Frontier 4195, just stop there, please. Stop. Truck 1, stop.
Truck 1, stop. But the problem is, it's not that clear that it's Truck 1, and we don't know what Truck 1 did. Looks like Truck 1 kept on going. Now, I think he probably thought that Truck 1 was no longer a factor because he gave him permission to cross the runway about 30 seconds ago. Cut 8, please. Cut 8.
Sorry, Truck 1. Stop, Truck 1. Stop. Stop, Truck 1. Stop.
4195, we're staying here.
Stop. What was Truck 1 doing? We don't know. What was going on in there? Hey, do me a favor. There is the press conference going on right now. I wouldn't mind dipping into that. I've never seen this NTSB person before. And maybe she's good. These guys, you notoriously don't say much at all. Let's see what's going on.
Of TSA lines, and in fact, I understand that this press conference had to move because the lines were actually wrapping around the building. But I do have a lot of investigative information to share today. First, as I mentioned yesterday, we were able to take possession of the cockpit voice recorder and the flight data recorder. That was at 9:57 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Our local investigator, had immediately began a trip down to our headquarters in Washington, D.C., to take the CVR and FDR to our labs for downloading and for analysis. We do have some preliminary information to share from the final 3 minutes of from the cockpit voice recorder. And again, I just want to say it's preliminary and is subject to change. And for that, I'm going to turn that piece over to Doug Brazee.
Hi.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman.
Hi, Doug.
The airplane was equipped with an Acron Aviation Model Survivor 2.5 cockpit voice recorder and an Acron Aviation Model FA2100 flight data recorder.
Ooh, this sounds like
cockpit
stuff, but it's not. But keep going.
25 hours of good quality audio across 4 separate channels. The flight data recorder contained approximately 80 hours of data and recorded more than 400 parameters. The NTSB will convene a cockpit voice recorder group scheduled for tomorrow at the NTSB headquarters in Washington, D.C. to review the accident flight recording and produce a written transcript.
I want to go to that thing.
The following is a summary of events captured on the cockpit voice recorder during the final 3 minutes of the recording. All times are referenced to the end of the CVR recording. 3 minutes and 7 seconds prior to the end of the recording, the approach controller instructed the airplane to contact LaGuardia Tower. At 2 minutes and 45 seconds, the flight crew lowered the landing gear. At 2 minutes and 22 seconds, the flight crew checked in with the LaGuardia Tower. At 2 minutes and 17 seconds, the LaGuardia Tower cleared the airplane to land on runway 4 and advised that they were number 2 for landing. At time 1 minute and 52 seconds, the flight crew set the flaps to 30 degrees. At 1 minute and 33 seconds, the flight crew set the flaps to 45 degrees. At 1 minute and 26 seconds, an electronic 1,000 call-out occurred from the enhanced ground proximity warning system, indicating that the airplane was 1,000 feet above the ground.
Is it clear to land yet? Did you hear?
At 1 minute and 12 seconds, the flight crew confirmed that the landing checklist was complete. At 1 minute and 3 seconds, an airport vehicle made a radio transmission to the tower, but that transmission was stepped on by another radio transmission, and the source of who made that transmission has yet to be identified. At 54 seconds, the flight crew acknowledged that the airplane was 500 feet above the ground and on a stable approach. At 40 seconds, the LaGuardia Tower asked which vehicle needed to cross a runway. At 28 seconds, Truck 1 made a radio transmission to the tower. At 26 seconds, the tower acknowledged that radio transmission. At 25 seconds, Truck 1 requested to cross runway 4 at taxiway Delta. At 20 seconds, the tower cleared Truck 1 and company to cross runway 4 at taxiway Delta. At 19 seconds, an electronic 100 enhanced ground proximity warning system callout occurred. At 17 seconds, Truck 1 read back the runway crossing clearance. At 14 seconds, an electronic 50 callout. At 12 seconds, an electronic 30 callout. And at that same time, the tower instructed a Frontier Airlines flight to hold position. At 11 seconds, an electronic 20 call-out occurred. And at 10 seconds, an electronic 10 call-out occurred. At 9 seconds, the tower instructed Truck 1 to stop. At 8 seconds, there was a sound consistent with the airplane's landing gear touching down on the runway. At 6 seconds, there was a pilot transfer of controls from one pilot to the other. And at 4 seconds, the tower again instructed Truck 1 to stop. At 0 seconds, the recording ended. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman.
Oh, boy. That doesn't look good. Go back.
Mentioned that 6 seconds before the end of the recording, the pilot transferred controls. We do know that the first officer was flying and transferred control to the captain. With respect to aircraft rescue and firefighting operations, we will be developing a timeline of events. We do know that they were responding to a United Airlines
that
flight.
part we got. This is some critical stuff. This is fascinating information, actually. So at 28 seconds before the crash, the tower started looking for truck 1. And at 26 seconds, the call was acknowledged. Let's see here. At 17 seconds, the fire truck read back, okay, we're clear to cross runway 4 at Delta. At 17 seconds. They're 17 seconds away. So maybe that controller did size it all up when he said he messed up, because I thought there was a question mark that perhaps the plane was further out. And maybe the fire truck took a long time to actually get across. This is a lot of stuff to have on your head. We'll be right back.
Greg Kelly
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Just looking at Joe Kent from back in the day, he looks like quite the hipster. He's from Portland, Oregon. And, there are a lot of hipsters there. And it looks like to me he's one of them. 2 runs back-to-back for Congress. Is he a rich kid? Is that going on here? Is that possibly what's going on here a little bit? They have the luxury to make these selfish decisions sometimes. Yes, Patrick.
The guy that drove the fire truck, he was definitely at fault for causing the accident, because it's like somebody that tries to beat the train across the track. He should have seen what was going on and stopped himself, and he didn't listen, or either the transmission was cut off when the guy said stop.
I have to disagree with you. We don't know that. He asked for permission to cross the runway. He was granted permission to cross the runway. That is very, very exculpatory. Know what I mean? Yeah, you're supposed to look, but you look and you see a light. Is that light close? Is that light far away? We don't know yet, all right? We got to reserve judgment. There's no definite, at least not yet.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Hey, it's so good that Susan Crabtree is back with us. Real Clear Politics and Beyond, that fantastic podcast she does with Eric Eggers. She has been all over the assassination attempt on President Trump, both of them, and the completely inept Secret Service handling of those days and the investigation and everything has been a complete mess, and she's got new information for us. Susan Crabtree, welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing great, Greg. Thanks for having me back.
That's great to hear. I am very worried that the Secret Service has not done a damn thing to fix itself because it was so terribly broken, and that's why Butler happened. What's happening?
What's happening is that the agent, inexperienced agent who was charged with developing the security plan and executing it, this is a lesbian Latina who is known for partying, inexperienced, posting social from her work sites on social media, including Mar-a-Lago. Her name is Mio Perez. So she was supposed to be sidelined. Donald Trump wanted nothing to do with her at a Christmas party with the detail after his victory. He said as much. He said, there's a reason why she's not here. I don't want her anywhere near me. She was supposed to be sidelined to desk job in Miami. And lo and behold, she has been suspended again. She was suspended for secretly marrying what many believe to be an illegal immigrant, her girlfriend, who is a foreign national from Brazil.
Holy cow. Wait a second. And she was in charge of Butler security. I know they have all these special agent in charge and special agent assistant in charge and special super duper agent in charge and nobody's really in charge. How do we know that she's in charge or was in charge? Is that correct? Don't they kind of make it a little bit confusing, opaque, if you will?
Yes, they do in all of their lingo, but I have numerous sources to break it down for me, and you can talk to any one of them. I'm sure you have your own sources, Greg, that have been on your show. Her title for that day was site agent. The site agent is in charge of developing the plan and executing it. Now, she has supervisors, of course, because she was only on the job for 2.5 years and had never done a rally of this magnitude outside. They were never at that site at that rally location before, and so this was new to them. But they let this woman, who was not known as the most serious agent in the world, handle that security, and they knew about the Iranian threat. That's one of the things. They knew that there was an acute Iranian threat, and they let this agent, who was, if you talk to anybody who knows her, in fact, after I wrote the story last week, I got a response from people who knew her when she was in the Army. And they said she was an unserious agent in the Army and lazy, and they couldn't believe that the Secret Service hired her.
Wow.
But there's supposed to be layers of supervision involved, and there were. And yet, that one agent that I was talking about, she was one of 6 agents that were suspended, but the 2 supervisors who were friends of Sean Curran, the current director, were promoted. They never received any discipline whatsoever. Now, the discipline that everybody received was a slap on the wrist because it was 11 to 42 days without pay. It is a bad mark on their record, of course, but the supervisors who were supposed to provide that extra layer of experience did not also point out that there was nobody on the AGR building. That building was not secured properly, among other problems with the perimeter and everything that we've already discussed with the counter snipers and their team getting there late and not doing the best security with the tree in the way and obscuring their vision. But this particular agent, Mio Perez, was in charge of everything, and her supervisors were Nick Menster, her direct supervisor. He was given a top spot on the Eric and Laura Trump detail as a promotion. And then this other Nick, the 2 Nicks, Nick Ozwensky, he was given a promotion he was an inspector out of the inspector's division. So he was there as an inspector, a supervisor, and he was given the job of being in charge of that division, the inspection division. And now, just last week, was given another promotion to an assistant director, one of 8 assistant directors in charge of the Office of Professional Responsibility.
Well, this all sounds crazy, and it is. Let me ask you this. The woman who was the site agent, Perez is her name?
Yes.
So she married her illegal alien girlfriend, now spouse, and she's in trouble for that. She's under suspension right now?
Correct. Yep.
Now, okay, so she's going to get fired, right? I mean, she's been a problem. I mean, they're going to fix that, correct?
No, Greg, as you know, it's really hard to fire an agent. There is this thing called the Merit Systems Protection Board, and it has to go through this. It takes endless amounts of time. But she is in a little bit of jeopardy because she is not a GS-14 or higher. Usually they protect their own. The senior agents get off a little bit more easily. Some of them held in administrative leave in suspension as long as so they can allowed to be retired. The woman. I'm
going to have to make some phone calls and give this person the heave-ho. I am going to get, this is my, no, I guess I mean, damn, could the president just say you're fired?
Yeah, of course.
Well, you never know. I mean, they have so many ways to undermine him, and it's terrible when you think about it. It really is. So, all right, where does this leave us? It sounds to me, and it looks to me like the agency is still screwed up. I'll tell you what, folks, I saw something in the Melania movie, and Melania is with President Trump, and they're getting the briefing on the inaugural parade, and they're talking about, is it safe to get out in March? And the two agents there, and I think one of them is current, says it is safe to get out in March. Now, it was not safe to get out in March. I don't think they did get out in March.
No, they didn't.
I mean, that's a crazy thing, and I saw it right in front of me. Yes, it's safe to go out in March. So much of this is mindset. So much of this is mentality. So much of this is yes men. I don't know what the hell is going on, but something is rotten in America. We have lost our backbone. There's something crazy. It's in the water. It's the fluoride. I don't know what the hell it is. Let's talk to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Everyone's on pot, but something is totally messed up. And for that to have happened, and for these people to have been promoted or not fired, is crazy, and it's un-American. Susan, seriously, what do you? I feel like we need another round, not only of congressional. You know what they need to have? We need a commission. We need like a Warren Commission style thing. And I know people don't like the Warren Commission, but they were more right than wrong in parts. I think we need something super duper like that. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. We need more scrutiny. I don't know what Rand Paul is doing. He is spending more time on his own personal grievances in the nomination hearing for Mark Van Mullen than talking about the real problems that are occurring both at all of the agencies under DHS's umbrella, including the Secret Service, which has to do with Trump's life and the continuity of our government and our ability to go to rallies without wondering whether we're going to get shot or not. I mean, I personally have an issue with sending my relatives, friends to rallies, to political rallies, after what I know about the Secret Service. I even was hesitant to go to the Charlie Kirk memorial service for the same reasons. I don't think that should be entering our psyche. And the issue is the DEI policies and this culture of corruption layered on top of the DEI from the Biden era that the Secret Service is still experiencing. And what I'm told is Sean Curran hits his retirement mark in August. And he's going to maybe hit that. And this is the thought process within some agents, the rank and file of the Secret Service. He's just waiting to hit that retirement mark. And then he will go off into this, right off into the sunset. There's talk about him getting a book deal, a movie deal, and he is going to get an excellent job because Trump will secure it. Most likely, Trump trusts him, but every blue ribbon commission that we've had on the Secret Service in the past 20 years has said, do not hire your personal site agent, your campaign, the one that was closest to you, to be your Secret Service director, because there's all kinds of conflicts of interest. So that's not the main problem, that Trump likes him. That's not the main problem. The main problem is that there was all kinds of shenanigans going on that detail that we know about and were investigated and cleared. But I don't trust the system of whether did they polygraph anybody in those investigations? Did they have any look at the phone text from the leadership? There was a formal investigation launched and he was cleared.
Yeah. Well, I see real problems with that. And President Trump, I love him, and he's amazing in every way. There's one area where he hasn't been, the one area where he's lagging, it's personnel. And sometimes he can be a bit of a softy, and these guys surround him all the time and they have guns, and you got to weirdly kind of like factor that in. You got to factor that in. This security apparatus, if you start, cracking skulls, you're going to be, it's just a very awkward position for him to be in. Well, Susan Crabtree, I'm glad you're on the case. Okay. How's Dan Bongino doing? How's he doing post FBI life?
Well, I think he's doing well for himself. He's back at Fox, as a contributor, and they're relying on him for quite a bit of analysis. But he's got his detractors in the press, so he's having to deal with that, and he and Miranda Devine aren't getting along so well. So I'm a friend of Miranda's, so I don't like to see that happening. But it seems like he's back in his podcast and enjoying himself, and he gets to also get more exposure on Fox, and they're relying on him for his expert opinion now.
Huh? How about that one? It wasn't always so rosy between him and Fox. Well, anyway, I love the guy, and I think that was quite a gutsy move that he pulled going to D.C. Susan Crabtree, we thank you. Real Clear Politics. Where else can we find? Tell us about that podcast.
Yes, I have a podcast with Eric Agers at the Government Accountability Institute. You can find it on YouTube and Spotify and where you get your podcasts. And you can find my work at Real Clear Politics and sometimes in the California Post as well.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Susan.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right. To be continued. How about that? That crazy lady, Perez. Hey, you can be a lesbian. I don't care, but you can't marry your illegal alien girlfriend. I think that's part of the that's kind of a bit weird. And you got a sensitive post securing the president of the United States. 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222.
This episode is brought to you by Cologuard. Do you know what's really scary? Not screening for colon cancer when you turn 45. The Cologuard test is non-invasive, requires no special prep or time off work, and ships right to your door. In just 3 simple steps, Cologuard takes the scare out of colon cancer screening. If you're 45 or older and at average risk, ask your healthcare provider about the Cologuard test. Cologuard is available by prescription only. Learn more or request a prescription today at Cologuard.com/screen.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Okay, I'm back. Just crafting a little tweet here, message for the world at Greg Kelly USA. If you want to see what's going on, it's good. It's very, very good. I love it that I'm in a position to kind of do things that few people are willing to do, or can do, or want to do, or are, I don't know. Let me see here. I want to talk to Roberta in Staten Island for a moment, if you don't mind. Go ahead.
Hi, Greg. Roger Stone's always complaining that the CNN knew about this FBI raid and came to his house 5 o'clock in the morning. And I heard in Butler, the CNN showed up where they never showed up at any of his other rallies. So it seems kind of, strange to me.
Yes and no. Number one, yes, they were tipped off that Roger Stone was going to be raided, right? And CNN was in that position. It's also true that CNN, for the first time in 2016, took a rally live from basically the very beginning until the moment where President Trump was shot. And that was a departure. I looked at every rally for the previous year and CNN's coverage of it. And but there's a big but coming here. Okay. However, it's still strange. I've got a question mark there. They should still interview CNN. Now, in CNN's defense, and I don't like saying CNN's, I don't like defending CNN, but CNN was, like a lot of people, very much interested in who President Trump was going to pick to be the vice presidential nominee. And there was some speculation that President Trump was going to announce his nominee right then and there in Butler. In fact, the day before, he suggested to VP Vance, then going to be the nominee, why don't you come with me to Butler and we'll announce it there and shock the world. So when CNN, and I looked at this, CNN, went, hey, Kate, there's, he may be announcing his vice presidential nominee. Let's take a look. They were anticipating news, and that would be huge news, right? The announcement of the VP nominee. So I give them a little bit of credit or a little bit of cover, I guess, or they're in the clear. However, something very weird happens. They take it live, and then right after the shots ring out and President Trump is on the ground, what do? They stop the camera. They go back to this blonde chick who's on the anchor desk. It says, obviously, something just happened here, and blah, 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 blah. And she summarizes everything. Why not keep the camera going? Almost like, I don't know, it was suspicious. Do you know what I mean there?
I do. Well, CNN is like the enemy as far as I'm concerned.
Well, they're a bunch of goofballs trying to survive, and they're very, very biased. And our friend Roger Stone has a lot of reason to be upset at them forever. All right. But I think that should be looked into, but there is a possible explanation and even a likely explanation, but it's still weird. Yes, Dan in Connecticut. Hello.
Hey, Greg. Thanks for taking my call. So regarding Joe Kent, Ranger panties, also known as silkies, they're like, picture Bruce Jenner running shorts. They're very short and they're usually green. Board shorts are more like knee length and it's like a very durable material. So that's the difference.
Yeah, I know, but it's still a weird terminology. I know the shorts you're talking about, and somebody else told me the same thing. All I can tell you is I wore those shorts a lot. They were my preferred shorts. In fact, I wore them as underwear for many years. And I never once thought of them or called them or had anybody refer to them as panties. Now, granted, I wasn't in the Rangers. I was a Marine Corps pilot. And I'm still going to make fun of it because it was weird. Fair enough?
Yeah, it's a little weird. They're very revealing, you know. It's weird to point it out.
Yeah, people sometimes objected when I wore them. I didn't see the problem. But, yeah, panties, for crying out loud. And board shorts. Look, the guy has a varied vocabulary when it came to short pants. I know two terminologies when it comes to trousers. Long pants and short pants. And he's calling Ranger panties, board shorts, dining panties, polo panties. It's weird. Hey, how do you know all that?
I heard it from a Marine at one point.
Well, I was a Marine. I never heard that. No Marine I know would ever go around saying they wore panties, other than the WMs, you know, women Marines. Thank you, sir. Let's see here. Lou, are you there? Is Lou there?
Yeah, hi, Greg. It's been a while since we talked.
I can never forget.
Well, I was talking to you about how we should have gone nuclear power about 20 years ago, but nobody listened to me. But
well, in fairness, Lou, did you really try to make the case? I mean, you know, you said nobody would listen to you. I mean, what did you do to get the word out?
Actually, no, I actually had a piece done in the New York Review of Books where I counted a person that was a green person, that whose name I'm forgetting now, but you know, he's one of those kooks out there, and we had a back and forth, which was actually published in the New York Review of Books. But I'd like to go into something. You know, Iran now, we know they're allowing Indian, Chinese, and Pakistani ships to go through because these ships are sending a special code, probably up to a Russian satellite, to the Iranians to let them go through, while the rest of our ships are being targeted, probably by the Russians, and given to the Iranians. And that's the deal now. So what my question to you is if they're trying to prevent us from using the Strait, why don't we start by, since the entire oil industry of Iran was developed by the West?
Oh, we lost him. You cut out, Lou, just before your question came up. Sorry about that. Real quick, I want to talk to Frank. Frank, line 2. Is it true you're in the country of Andorra?
Greg, I am skiing the beautiful Alps of Andorra on the Pyrenees Mountains here, listening to your show.
Andorra, right between France and Spain?
Yeah, no one knows where it is. That's great that you know that. I love you, Greg.
It's such a very interesting place. Take pictures. When you come back, we want a full report. Frank from Bayville is in Andorra. Very interesting. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?